students, I, Rajeshwari Shirkanhalli, welcome you all in Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School channel. In the previous class, we have studied about air pollution. Okay, we are seeing the different natural resources. We have discussed about air and how its pollution occurs. Now let us see today about one more very important natural resource, that is water. Water is called as a wonder liquid. So let us see why water is called as a wonder liquid. So water is one of the very important natural resource. It's available on the surface of earth as well as it is there in underground. So let's see what is water and what are its uses. Water, a wonder liquid. Water is an inexhaustible natural resource. In the beginning of the chapter, we have discussed that natural resources are of two types, exhaustible and inexhaustible. Exhaustible means they are limited. If we use them carelessly, they may get over very soon. But inexhaustible means they are never ending sources. So water is an inexhaustible natural resource. It occupies very large area of the earth's surface. So if earth is seen from the space, it looks in two colors, blue and green. Green color is due to vegetation and blue color is due to the presence of water. So it occupies very large area of the earth's surface. It is present both above and under the ground. Some amount of water exists in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere. So water gets heated continuously from the different water reservoirs, and that water, heated water, becomes light in the weight, rises in the upward direction and gets converted into water vapor. So some amount of water exists in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere. Now most of the water on the earth's surface, which is found in the seas and oceans, is saline. What is saline water? The water which consists of lot of salts. That water is of no use. We cannot use that water for agriculture or for drinking. But most of the water is saline and it is present in the form of seas and oceans. So most of the water on the earth's surface is saline. Fresh water is found as frozen ice caps at poles and on snow covered mountains. So the other type of water is fresh water. Where it is present? It is present in the form of frozen ice caps at poles, and similarly it is there in the form of snow. So we find fresh water in the frozen ice caps at poles and on snow covered mountains. The underground water and the water in rivers, lakes and ponds is also fresh. So generally we make the use of this water, the water which is present in the rivers, lakes and ponds. We use that water for different activities, for drinking, for agriculture and so on. So let us see more about this. There is an activity for you all. Many municipal corporations are trying water harvesting techniques to improve the availability of water. Now we have just discussed that water is available in large quantity, it is inexhaustible, but still we face water shortage, especially in the summer season. So we have to utilize that water which is available during the rainy season. We have to store that water, and this water is stored by using water harvesting techniques, so that water is available throughout the year. Find out what these techniques are and how they would increase the water that is available for use. So what is your activity? You are going to find out the techniques that are used for harvesting water, and similarly you have to find out how they would increase the water that is available for use. Now let us see the importance of water for living things. Water is essential for living things because first of all it provides a medium for all the processes to take place. So inside the body of a living organism there are different life processes take place, which include nutrition, then assimilation, absorption of important substances, then transportation of these substances, digestion, then circulatory system, and so on. All these different life processes require a medium, and this is done with the help of water. So water is a medium through which different life processes carry on in the living organisms. It is necessary for the transportation of substances from one part of the body to other in dissolved form. So important substances like different nutrients and oxygen, it is in the dissolved form. It is present in the blood, and most of the blood is having water as one of the important component. It gets transported to each and every cell of the body. So for that water is must. The third importance is it helps to maintain body temperature. So because of presence of water in the body, the temperature of the body is maintained. Similarly, it is also required to maintain balance of the salts within the body. So the important salts in the body, whether they are sodium salts or potassium salts, they all are very important. Their balance is maintained because of presence of water. Terrestrial life forms require fresh water because their bodies cannot tolerate or get rid of high amount of dissolved salts in saline water. You know what is terrestrial life? The living organisms which live on land, they are called as terrestrial life forms. They may include plants as well as animals. They require fresh water because they cannot tolerate the saline water. Why? Because in the saline water the amount of dissolved salts is very high. So they cannot tolerate that saline water, they always require a fresh water. Similarly, all the reactions that take place within our body and within the cells occur between substances that are dissolved in water. So different reactions take place in our body, and for these reactions to take place in our body, similarly in each and every cell of the body, the substances are used which are present in the dissolved state in water. So water plays a very important role in the living things, in their bodies. Without water we cannot survive. Now all the organisms need to maintain the level of water within their bodies in order to survive. You all must have heard about dehydration. What is dehydration actually? Loss of water from the body, isn't it? The level of the water in the body should be maintained, then only we can survive. Otherwise we may face problems or even it may lead to death. So level of water should be maintained in the bodies. Therefore water is essential for the sustenance of life. So life is sustained because of presence of water in their bodies. The availability of water decides the number of individuals of each species that are able to survive in a particular area, and also the diversity of life there. Means, for example, if at an area there is plenty of water is present, availability of water is there, then we find there the number of species of each individual is more. Similarly, there we find more biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Variety in the living organisms. So the richness of the diversity of life is found where there is more availability of water. So water is first must for living things. The other factors that decide the sustainability of life in a region are temperature, nature of soil, etc. But water is one of the major resources which determine life on land. So life on land is possible because of mainly presence of water. Of course, other factors are also important like temperature and nature of soil, but water is the major resource which determine life on land. Okay, now there is one more activity for you. You have to find the map showing rainfall patterns in the atlas. So refer an atlas and find out the rainfall patterns and predict which states in India would have the maximum biodiversity and which would have the least. So from the atlas, first of all you are going to find out the rainfall patterns and then you are going to predict which states in India would have the maximum biodiversity and which would have the least. So how can we do this prediction? On the basis of more availability of water. Water is available more if there is more rainfall. So with the help of these rainfall patterns you will come to know that in which state there is more rainfall, and from that you can predict that the biodiversity is also more in those areas. Similarly, the areas where the rainfall is less means biodiversity is less. So you have to find out the areas where there is more biodiversity and where there is least biodiversity. So can we think of any way of checking whether the prediction is correct? Yes, we can do it on the basis of availability of water. So the availability of water decides not only the number of individuals of each species that are able to survive in a particular area, but it also decides the diversity of life there. Means we can guess, we can predict that where there is more rainfall there is more biodiversity and where there is less rainfall there is less biodiversity. So we can predict on the basis of availability of water. Now let us discuss about water pollution. Water is available everywhere, it is an inexhaustible resource, but due to many activities, especially due to human activities, water is getting polluted. So water pollution is one of the very serious problem nowadays. So let us discuss about water pollution, what are its causes, what can be done to prevent this water pollution. So water pollution. What is water pollution? It is defined as an undesirable change in the physical, chemical and biological quantity of water due to addition of unwanted and harmful substances that are called as water pollutants. So some unwanted and harmful substances, if they get added to the water, then the water becomes polluted. So these harmful and unwanted substances are called as water pollutants. They cause undesirable change in the physical nature of the water, chemical nature of the water, as well as the biological quality of water get changed because of addition of water pollutants. So water pollution adversely affects living organisms by making the water unsuitable for use. So if these pollutants get added to the water, water gets polluted and that water becomes useless for us. We cannot use that. So it becomes unsuitable for use. Let us discuss about the causes of water pollution. Means due to what reasons the water gets polluted. Water pollution is caused due to the following reasons. The first thing is water dissolves the fertilizers and pesticides from agricultural fields and take them to the nearby water bodies where cause harmful effects on aquatic life. You know that for getting better yield of the crops, we use fertilizers and pesticides. Fertilizers are used for getting good yield of the crops, and pesticides are used for killing pests so that the crops should not get any disease. But when we supply these chemical fertilizers and pesticides, they remain in the soil, and during the irrigation process and during the rainfall, these traces of the fertilizers and pesticides get washed away. They mix with the rainwater and they go and mix with the nearby water bodies, nearby water reservoirs, and whatever the aquatic life is there in those water bodies, they get affected. So that is one of the main cause of water pollution. Secondly, dumping of sewage and other wastes into water bodies adversely affect the water quality. So we see people, they go and just dump the sewage and other waste materials in the water bodies. They just throw in the water without thinking there its ill effects. But because of that, it adversely affects the quality of water. So that is due to the carelessness of the people. So that is the second cause. The third cause is because of industries. So industries use water for cooling various machines. So different machines which are used in the industries, when they become hot, for cooling these machines, a lot of amount of water is required. After this, when the water is used for cooling machines, that water becomes hot, and then these industries release that hot water in the water bodies. So this causes sudden changes in the temperature of water body. Okay, if hot water is released in the water bodies, then the overall temperature of the water in that reservoir increases. So changes in the temperature of water body occurs that affects the breeding of aquatic organisms. So aquatic organisms cannot breed in the water with different temperature. So change in the temperature causes very serious problem to the breeding of aquatic organisms. So these are some of the causes of water pollution. Now let us see its effects. Effects of water pollution. Polluted water can affect the life forms in various ways as mentioned below. The first one is addition of undesirable means unwanted substances to water bodies. Then death of flora and fauna. Flora means plants, fauna means animals of water bodies, means aquatic plants and aquatic animals. Then thermal pollution or change in the temperature. And fourth one is human diseases. Now let us see all these factors which affect the life forms one by one. First one is addition of undesirable substances to water bodies. So which are these undesirable substances? Fertilizers, pesticides, dirt, sewage, industrial wastes like heavy metals. In the industries, mercury and lead, these metals are used, and if suppose all these get mixed with the water, then water becomes highly polluted. Similarly, disease causing microorganism get mixed with the water, making it unfit for consumption. So this water becomes unfit for its consumption because of addition of these all the undesirable substances, which are those fertilizers, pesticides which are used for agriculture, then dirt, sewage which are collected from city areas daily, industrial wastes like heavy metals including mercury and lead which are released from industries, and disease causing microorganisms. All they get mixed with the water, water becomes highly polluted and it becomes unfit for consumption. So this is one of the effect of water pollution. Second one is the death of flora and fauna of water bodies. As I have just told, flora means plants and fauna means animals. of water bodies, means aquatic plants and aquatic animals. As the amount of organic waste increases in water, bacteria and other organisms multiply very fast. So, as these organic waste materials get added to the water, bacteria and some other organisms start growing very fast. They get multiplied very fast by using the dissolved oxygen present in the water. You know that aquatic life is also dependent on oxygen, like how the terrestrial and amphibians depend, but they use oxygen which is present in the water in the dissolved state. But because of the increased amount of this organic waste, bacteria and other organisms, they start growing very fast, they get multiply very fast, and they starts using that dissolved oxygen in the water. And due to this, the amount of oxygen in the water decreases. So, it making the water body deficient in oxygen, means the amount of oxygen get decreased. So, this lack of oxygen in turn kills the aquatic plants, fishes and other aquatic animals. So, as I have told that each and every living organism need oxygen. So, as the oxygen becomes less in the water body because of more growth of bacteria and some other organisms, then these aquatic plants, fishes and other aquatic animals, they do not get oxygen, and that is why they get killed. So, death of flora and fauna of water bodies occur due to water pollution. The third one is thermal pollution. Thermal, this word is used as an alternative word for heating. So, thermal pollution or change in temperature. Sudden marked change in the temperature range of water body in which the aquatic organisms are living can be dangerous for them or may affect their breeding. So, just now as we have discussed that industries release hot water in the water bodies. So, because of this, the total temperature of the water in the water bodies get increases and it affects the aquatic life over there. It is very dangerous for them and they may affect their breeding also. So, that is the next effect of water pollution. Then human diseases. Water provides home to pathogens which cause infection to humans. So, different pathogens. What are pathogens? Disease causing organisms. So, different pathogens grow in the water and it cause infection to humans. These pathogens are viruses, bacteria, fungi, nematodes, protozoans, etc. and cause diseases such as typhoid, cholera, jaundice in humans. So, these diseases like typhoid, cholera and jaundice are caused because of pathogens. So, some pathogens are viruses, bacteria, fungi, nematodes, protozoans, etc. So, that is all about the different effects of water pollution. Now, what should be done? How to control the water pollution? It is very important to control the water pollution. Otherwise, if everywhere there is water pollution, then we have seen its effects. It increases the living organisms. It may affect the biodiversity of the living organisms. So, it is very important to control the water pollution. Let us see how it is done. The following activities help to control water pollution. The first one is sewage and garbage generated by home and industries should be treated properly before discharging into the water resources. So, before leaving this means before leaving or discharging means throwing these different sewage and garbage, they should be first treated. It will reduce the water pollution, causing less harm to the aquatic life. So, first this all the sewage and garbage should be treated, which is called as preliminary treatment. It is done in the industries actually, and then it should be released in the water reservoir. If hot water generated by industries is collected at a common place, then cooled before it is discharged into the water bodies. It will not affect the breeding capacity of aquatic organisms. So, the breeding capacity of aquatic organisms get affected if the temperature of water is increased, and the temperature of water increases in the water bodies because of release of hot water by industries. So, first what the industries should do, they should cool that hot water, and then that cold water should be released in the water bodies. So, it will not affect the breeding capacity of aquatic organisms. If commercial areas, factories and industries are shifted to isolated areas, isolated means separate areas, means these should not be in the city areas, they should be far away from residential areas, somewhere outside the city. These factories, industries and commercial areas should be built so that it can reduce the effect of water pollution on people. So, different activities should be undertaken to control the water pollution. After discussing about water, its importance, water pollution, its causes, effects and how to control, let us move to the next point of the chapter, that is mineral riches in the soil. Soil is one more important natural resource and it is home for different minerals. So, let us see the different mineral riches in the soil. What is soil? It is the portion of the outermost layer of earth. So, the outermost layer of the earth's crust, that is nothing but soil, which provides support for the growth of the plants. So, mainly plants grow in the soil. Very few plants grow in the water, but mainly plants require soil for their growth. So, soil provides the support for the growth of the plants. The minerals present in the soil supply a variety of nutrients to life forms. So, the plants require different nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and a lot of humus also. These all the things are present in the soil. It is an important resource that decides the diversity of life in an area. So, depending on the quality of soil, we find the diversity of in that area. So, where the quality of soil is good, we find more diversity of life, and if the soil quality is not so good, then biodiversity is less in that area. Let us see how this soil is formed. Formation of soil. Soil takes long period of time to form. For thousands and millions of years, the rocks at or near the surface of the earth are broken down by various physical, chemical and biological processes. How soil is formed? First of all, it is a very slow process. It takes a very long period of time. How much? About thousands or millions of years. So, whatever the rocks are there at or near the surface of earth, they get broken down by different processes, different physical, chemical and biological processes. The end product of this breaking down is the fine particles of soil. Now, the factors responsible for the soil formation are sun, water, wind and living organisms. So, these are the four important factors responsible for soil formation. So, students, today we have discussed about water, a wonder liquid. We have seen that water is very important, water is must for each and every living organisms. So, water is called as a wonder liquid. Without water, no life can exist on the earth. But due to many reasons, water is getting polluted, which is a very serious problem. We have discussed about different causes of water pollution. Then we have seen its effects also, that water pollution causes very serious effects on the living organisms. Similarly, we have also discussed about how to control the water pollution. few activities we have discussed which you all are supposed to do. After that we have moved to the next natural resource, that is soil. We have seen that soil is very important for the growth of plants. We have also seen how the formation of soil takes place. For the formation of soil, the different factors are important. They are sun, water, wind and living organisms. So, how these factors affect the soil formation, means how they are responsible for the formation of soil, we will discuss in the next session. So, today here we will stop, do the activities, go through the concepts and note down the important points. Thank you.